Hey guys, how's it going? How is your beautiful day going on this beautiful day? Last video I made was the quarterback tier list, so today we are moving on to the running backs. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I really like making videos, so it'd be nice for you to support me as well as I make these videos. Go check out my quarterback tier list because that one was a banger as well. All right, so we are starting off with the Baltimore Ravens running backs right now. We got Justice Hill, this guy, and Derrick Henry. This is what our lists are going to look like. So the elite, so the best of the best, just below elite. The potential is there. Solid number 2 option at running back. Okay, like you're all right. You're decent, I guess. Just not very good, bad, and I don't know who you are. Justice Hill is a solid number 2. I think we all know this. Justice Hill has been with Baltimore for I don't know how many years now. He's been with them for so long, and he has always been their solid number 2 guy and a perfect guy to go right alongside Derrick Henry. Ali, I've never heard of this dude before. I don't know who it is. Derrick Henry is obviously in the elite tier. I don't know how he's still doing it. He's not that old, but for a running back, he's old. He's in his 30s now, and he's still one of the best running backs in the league. Ty Chandler, I think he could be a solid number 2. I'm gonna put him in okay though. Cam Akers is a solid number 2. He's had flashes of greatness with the teams he's been with, and he's also one of my favorite runners to watch. I actually love watching Cam Akers run. Unfortunately, he had those injuries that kind of set him back, but I think he is a solid number 2 to have on your team because he's very patient and he knows where to pick his holes. So I like him as a solid number 2 option. Aaron Jones, I'm going to put him in that just below elite tier. Obviously, the potential is not there anymore. It's Aaron Jones. He's a little bit of an older guy, so there's no potential for him to get better, but he did play a very good season this year. He was a very good option for Vikings this season. A great running back one to go with that great team. James Cook is going to also go in that just below elite tier, but for the opposite reason is because I think he'll be in this elite tier at some point. He tore apart the Broncos defense in the playoffs. He also had the most touchdowns of any running back this year. Or of any player, actually, I think. Besides, like, quarterbacks, of course. But James Cook had a fantastic season. But I would like to see more of it to put him in the elite tier. I just don't think he's there yet. But he's just below that tier for now. Ray Davis, I think, is a solid number 2 as well. I think he's a very solid number 2 running back. I don't think he's any better than that, though. Ty Johnson is going to go in the okay tier. He's a pretty good receiving back, and I think he does pretty well with Josh Allen, but if you put him on a different team, I don't really expect anything better. Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously in the elite tier. He was sharing 50% of his carries and still finished like top 5 in yards this year. He is fantastic. He is so explosive. Definitely the second coming of CJ2K. David Montgomery, just below elite. He is one of the best power backs in the league. And although he doesn't average the same yards per carry, he does like grind out runs. And he is, Jahmyr Gibbs wouldn't be as good as he is without the work of David Montgomery. And I think David could be a number 1 on any other team. He is a fantastic running back. Next we got Jefferson. Who is this? I don't know who that is. Now we got J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to put the potential is there. He's had when he plays, J.K. Dobbins is a very good running back. A lot of their success this season had to deal with him, actually. Justin Herbert had probably his worst passing yardage season in his career so far. And that doesn't mean he was a bad quarterback, but it just meant that they were able to rely on the run game and be able to win games, and that was because of J.K. Dobbins when he was healthy. So I'm going to say the potential is there. But if he keeps getting injured, if he doesn't get injured, he could be in this just below elite to possibly even the elite tier. Gus Edwards is just bad. He was the worst running back in the league this year when he was taking number 1 reps. Vidal, I'm going to put him a little bit higher just because he's a rookie. And again, there's possible potential there. But he also didn't look that amazing when he was in. He did have a few good runs. Jonathan Taylor, I still think he's in the elite tier. He's fantastic. He did lose a game for them, but besides that, he's a lot of their offense mostly every single year. And even if he has a down year in rushing, it's literally because they can't pass the ball. He is an elite weapon himself, and Jonathan Taylor is still an elite running back. Trey Sermon is also bad. He's just horrible. When Jonathan Taylor was injured this year, they had to rely on Anthony Richardson as a run game, and when Anthony Richardson wasn't there, they had zero offense whatsoever. So yeah, Trey Sermon is not very good. Eric Gray, just not very good. I don't really have much to say about Eric Gray. He's just not very good. Tyrone Tracy, definitely the potential is there. He had multiple good games this year. I think he rushed for 145 yards and a couple touchdowns, or a touchdown or something, against the Steelers defense, which is a pretty good defense. Tyrone Tracy, I think he's a very up-and-coming guy. I really like Tyrone Tracy. I think he'll be pretty good in this league. So I'm going to put him in the potential is there. Devin Singletary, I think he can be a solid number 2 on any team. I think the problem with Devin Singletary is he always gets the number 1 role from teams and stuff, as he gets the number 1 role, and he's just really not a number 1 running back in my opinion. I think he'd be such a good number 2 running back, but as a number 1, I think that's too much of a load for him to carry. What did I do? No. Please say it's okay. Okay, we're good. We're good. Soon to be the best running back in the league, though. Soon to be. We got Kyron Williams, who's just below elite. I'm pretty sure he had a little bit of a down year this year, but I still think that he's a big part of that offense, and he's really good. He gets into the end zone all of the time. End zone magnet is Kyron Williams, and I still think he is a decent, solid running back. Blake Corum, I think he could be a solid number 2. I don't know about the potential or anything. I didn't watch a lot of Blake Corum this year, but when I did, he seemed like a serviceable number 2 running back. Rivers, I'm going to be honest, I've heard the name, but I also don't know who it is. Next, we got Tony Pollard, who's also going to be in that just below elite tier. He was actually really good. He was most of the Tennessee offense this year, and he kind of went under the radar. A lot of people didn't really think about Tony Pollard or know about Tony Pollard or even take into account that Tony Pollard actually existed in the world, but he was a very solid running back this year. Tajay Spears, he was okay. He is okay. Next, we got Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard is in that just below elite tier. He had a fantastic year, the best year of his career, possibly revived his career even. And I think he can be in that elite tier like after next season if he plays the way he did this season. So we got to see one more season of him playing the way he did this season, and I guarantee he's going to be in that elite tier. Brooks, we really didn't see enough of him at all, so I'm just going to kind of put him in okay. He wasn't very good when he was in, but he's also a brand new rookie who barely played, coming off an ACL tear. So we'll see. Blackshear is just bad. I mean, he was not good. I mean, he's not a great running back. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know who this is. I've heard him. I've heard the name, like I've seen him play, but I can't rank him. Devon A-Chain. The potential is there. I'm not putting him in just below elite because as a runner, A-Chain is not that amazing. He can run outside the tackles, but if he doesn't have the blocking, he doesn't break tackles because he's so little. That's the thing. If he finds a lane, he's probably gone, but you have to give him the perfect lane. And I think that's something that he needs to work on. He's super fast, and I think he can be like a Jahmyr Gibbs type of guy and stuff like that. But, you know, he's got to be able to do more than just have the speed. He has to be able to run between the tackles, and he can't do that. And they can't do that with him in there. And they can't really do that with Mostert either anymore. He's not very good anymore. He was okay this year. That's it. He didn't even play that much. And I'm tempted to put him in just not very good. He did not have a good season at all. Next, we have Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne had a pretty bad season. I'm going to still put him in the potential is there, though, because of his first season in the league and because of the type of prospect he was coming into the league. Tank Bigsby kind of took that starting job from Etienne, but I can definitely see Etienne still having the potential. He's still a younger guy. I think it's going to be his 3rd or 4th season next year. It's not like he's super old. So I think I hold out hope for Travis Etienne that he's going to be able to revive. But right now he's he wasn't that amazing. But again, I see the potential. Next, we have Tank Bigsby, who we were going to put on the same tier for the opposite reason. He showed a lot of promise this year. He was their best running back this season. He played very well. Saquon Barkley, obviously the best running back in the league. He won Offensive Player of the Year. I don't have to explain that one. Will Shipley, I'm going to put the potentials. I'm actually going to put a solid number 2. I think Will Shipley's decent. He's had a couple good runs, but besides that one, like, what do you have, like a 60-yard run in the NFC Championship game? We haven't really seen much of him, but I think he's a decent number 2. I'm going to put him in okay though. Because I don't really know. I'm starting to really realize that, like, we haven't seen a lot of Will Shipley to know if he would be a solid number 2, because they do have a solid number 2 in Kenneth Gainwell. Probably one of the best number 2s. That's the thing. Justice Hill and Kenneth Gainwell are so perfect to go next to Henry and Barkley. They are the perfect 1-2 punch for those guys. Braylon Allen, I just don't think he's very good, if I'm being honest. I know it was his rookie year and he started the season pretty decently, but after that one game, it just didn't seem like he was very good, in my opinion, especially when Breece Hall got hurt a little bit. I just didn't see that much from Braylon Allen. Breece Hall, we are going to put on the just below elite tier. He was decent this year, not anything amazing, but I think he also went under the radar. A lot of people kind of wrote him off, but he was decent, but he wasn't that amazing. Josh Jacobs, obviously in that elite tier. He is fantastic. He was fantastic this year, and he was most of their offense actually this year. And Wilson was, again, that's very, very solid number 2. These 3 guys who changed teams, Henry, Barkley, and Jacobs, got very, very solid number 2s behind them. Kenneth Walker is in the elite tier. Actually, I'm going to put him in just below elite. I'm going to put him on the same. Their run game was pretty bad this year. Kenneth Walker did not have any run lanes ever. I think if he has a better offensive line, he's easily in the elite tier, which kind of defeats the purpose, but I don't feel good putting him in the elite tier right now. But he is very amazing. He's very good, and he's just below that elite tier, and I think next year he moves up into the elite tier. But with how bad their running game was, and it really wasn't his fault, but with how bad it was, you've got to take that into account. McIntosh, he was okay. Charbonnet is a solid number 2. I think he could actually, let's put him in potential as there, because I think he could possibly be a starting running back for a team who needs a starting running back. And he's younger, so I think he can keep getting better. All right, Ramondre Stevenson is just not very good. He fumbles the ball way too much. When he doesn't fumble, he's a very decent running back. Antonio Gibson is also just not very good. And then Hasty is just bad. Their run game is terrible. I don't have to explain. Austin Eckler is to the point where he is a solid number 2. I don't think he's any better than that. But he played the number 2 role this year very, very well. I mean, I guess that's all I really got to say about him. He's a solid number 2 running back now. Brian Robinson, the potential is there. He's still young. This is only his second year coming off of getting shot. I think he can still be a solid number 1. And he was a solid number 1 running back for most of this year. Come the second half of the year, he kind of played a lot worse, if I'm being honest. He did not play as good as he did the first half of the year. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to continue to improve upon his game, and he can be in that just below elite or the elite tier at some point, but right now he's on the potential is there. Jeremy McNichols, when he came in, he was actually pretty decent. I'd put him in that okay tier. I don't think he's on Austin Eckler's level of a solid number 2, but I do think that he was pretty decent. Isaac Guerrero, anybody can run behind that offensive line. That is what I have learned from this season behind that offensive line and Kyle Shanahan's play calling. Anybody can look good. I think Isaac Guerrero can be a solid number 2 in this league. That's it. I think it's just because Kyle Shanahan can make any running back look like God. Jordan Mason was also pretty good. I also don't think he's a number 1 running back, though. I literally think it's the scheme that's putting him in these positions. And, hey, maybe he goes to a different team one day, becomes the number 1, and proves me wrong. I'm not going to count on it. Christian McCaffrey. I want to put him in this elite tier, but he's so injured. I'm putting him in the elite tier either way. I know he's so injured, but when McCaffrey is healthy, he is probably the best, if not one of the top 3 best running backs in the league. I think I'm going to drop down Jonathan Taylor too. I just don't think he's on the level of the guys on top of this list, if I'm being honest. That's the reason I'm dropping him down. When I look at these guys, I just don't see Jonathan Taylor on the same level as them. I think he's fantastic. I just don't think he's as elite. Next, we have Bucky Irving, who played fantastic. I'm going to put him in just below elite. Yes, he is a rookie, and I should probably put him in the potential is there because I put other rookies in that tier. But Bucky Irving was the best rookie running back, and he was so good. Watching Bucky Irving run with the football is the most satisfying thing in the world. He knows where his holes are. He knows where to go. Bucky Irving is fantastic, and I think he is just below elite. And he's possibly going to be in that elite tier real soon. Rachaad White is a solid number 2. And I also think Sean Tucker is a solid number 2. They had a great run game this year. I think Rachaad White and Sean Tucker are very solid number 2s for any team that might be looking for a running back. James Conner is obviously in that just below elite tier. He is fantastic. He goes under the radar every single year. I think he led the league in broken tackles and yards after contact and everything. DJ Dallas, he's okay. I really don't have much else to say about him. And then Benson, I forget his first name. I think it's Trey Benson, but I'm also not sure. He's going to go in that just not very good tier. Next, we have Kareem Hunt. I think he's okay. He played good on the Chiefs, and I don't think he's going to play good on any other team. He's still getting older. I don't think Kareem Hunt's a very great running back, if I'm being very honest. Carson Steele's going to go on this too. They're okay. There's very little that's special about the Chiefs except for their quarterback and some of their offensive line. They're kind of an overrated team as far as talent goes. And Pacheco is also going on this tier. I'm sorry. They're just all okay. Yeah, that team has a bunch of okay running backs. Broncos, Audric Estime. I'm going to put him in okay. I'm going to put Javonte Williams in just not very good. And this does say Michael Burton, but here's the thing. Jaleel McLaughlin played way more than Michael Burton did, as a running back especially. And they don't have Jaleel McLaughlin on here. But this Burton is Jaleel McLaughlin. He's going to go on Estime's level. Both, I think they could be number 2 running backs or complementary running back. The fact of the matter is the Broncos do not have a good running back on the team right now at all. They just have a lot of just okay options at running back right now. Jonte's not very good. He had one good game against the most depleted team in the league at the time in the Saints. Besides that, by the way, he couldn't even get 100 yards rushing in that game. And that was that was all Broncos fans are looking at that game like, oh my gosh, Javonte Williams is back. He didn't even have 100 rushing yards, and he never did anything close to that since. So I'm sorry, I just don't really think Javonte's the guy anymore. Unfortunately, that ACL tear kind of ruined his entire career. And then Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin are just they're good complementary pieces. They're good at one thing and one thing only. Oh, are these the Bengals running backs? I don't even know who this guy is. Williams? I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Moss was bad when he played. Zach Moss was not good this year. Yeah, he was not very good this year. Zach Moss was kind of a disappointment. Chase Brown, though, was a very decent surprise. The potential is there for Chase Brown. He had a very decent season through the air, through the run game. They use him a lot in the pass game, actually, as an extension of the run game, and he played very well. He was very explosive, and I liked what I saw from Chase Brown. He's teetering between solid number 2 and the potential is there. I think he could easily be a solid number 2 for his career. I'm not sure about him being a number 1. I just don't think that Chase Brown can be a number 1 wide receiver. Or not wide receiver, running back. But I've also seen the potential for him to be able to be a number 1 running back. In fact, he's had multiple games where he's shown where that could be a possibility for him. So that's why I'm saying the potential is there. But in my opinion, he's going to end up in that solid number 2 kind of role. Jerome Ford was just not very good this year. Nick Chubb, I'm going to put him in okay as respect that it is Nick Chubb. But his season was pretty bad. Like, he didn't play for the first half of it, and then when he came back, he again wasn't very good and then broke his foot again. And I just don't think he's ever going to, like, with all these injuries, I don't see him getting back to that elite tier that he once was at. Then we got Dameon Pierce, who is just not very good. He's just not very good. He broke off a 60-yard run earlier this year, but, I mean, man, he lost his job so quick after such a good rookie season, and he just has never been the same since his rookie season. He's not very good anymore. But Joe Mixon this year has earned himself an elite tier. Joe Mixon was fantastic this year. He was, again, another running back who was almost their entire offense because they could not pass the ball and their offensive line was bad. But a silver lining was Joe Mixon this year. And he played, especially even in the playoff, Joe Mixon played some good football. I'm actually going to put him in just below elite. It's the same thing with Jonathan Taylor. I can't see him on that elite tier. I really want to put him up there because he had a fantastic season. But unfortunately, I just can't believe in it right now. Just below elite. If he has another season like he did last season, I could put him in that. But right now, I can't put him above there. I can't. Tyler Algier is a very solid number 2. I think that's what he'll be in his entire career. But I think he can make an entire career out of being a very, very solid number 2 for any team who has a very good number 1 running back. Alexander Madison didn't really play much this year, but when he did, he was bad. Same with McCormick. And same with Zamir White. That's all of the Raiders running backs. Where's Amir Abdullah? Amir Abdullah would be the only one that's in just not very good. But besides that, the Raiders running backs were atrocious this season. They were absolutely horrible. So, yeah, they are going to go in the bad tier. Next we go to, it looks like the Steelers. We got Cordero Patterson, who's just not very good anymore. I'm not going to put him in the bad tier because they didn't really use him much. And when they did, he was okay, I guess. He's just not very good anymore. He's not Cordero Patterson anymore. And he also looks like he's put on a couple pounds. Jaylen Warren, for his entire career, should be just a solid number 2. He is good. I think he is a good running back. I just don't think he can be a number 1 option on a team. That shows whenever Najee Harris is hurt or doesn't get. Whenever Najee Harris is hurt, it kind of shows that Jaylen Warren should be a number 2. He does have good games by himself. That's not what I'm saying. It's not like when Najee Harris goes away, all of a sudden Jaylen Warren's horrible, or he doesn't play well when he gets number 1 reps. I'm just saying I think he is way better in that complementary role than he is in a starting role. Najee Harris, I want to be a dick here because in my opinion, he's just okay. Yes, he has 1,000 yards every season. Those are empty calories to me. Najee Harris is not that great of a running back. In my personal opinion, he has a couple games every year where it's like, holy shit, this guy's fucking amazing. It's like, how could you ever doubt Najee Harris? How could you ever put him in those lower tiers? That he's got Steelers fans in a chokehold. He's got them all in a chokehold. Because all of them believe that he's this guy and he has so much potential. And oh my God, he has 1,000 yards every year. He's not that good. He has some of the worst vision in the league as a starting running back. And he's going to keep getting the starting running back roles because of his athleticism and how big he is. Like, he's going to keep getting the starting running back roles. He doesn't deserve them, in my opinion. I don't think he deserves them until he goes to a team and puts up a meaningful 1,000-yard season where he doesn't put up empty calories for games. Then I'll care. I'll give a shit. But he's just not very good. I guess he's not in that tier. He's better than just not very good. But for the tier that people put Najee Harris on, he is not that good. He is okay. That is it. He is okay. That is all you're getting out of me from Najee Harris. And I do not care if I'm disrespecting him. Bijan Robinson is on the elite tier. This is one that I will not move down. Bijan Robinson was one of the best running backs in the league. He is explosive. He can break tackles. He can make people miss. He can do everything you need to do. And in my opinion, he's the second coming of Saquon Barkley right now. He is fantastic, and I love me some Bijan Robinson, and he definitely deserves to be in that elite tier. McClellan, I'm guessing he was the Falcons' backup running back. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch any Falcons games except for the Broncos one. I don't remember how he played. But if you can remember the Broncos game, the Broncos fucking destroyed the goddamn Falcons. It wasn't even a fucking competition. So I didn't really pay attention to the Falcons offense very much because they kind of suck. Homer, again, I know the name, don't know how he played this season, so I'm not gonna. DeAndre Swift, he's just not very good to be honest with you. I just don't think DeAndre Swift is very good. He leaves yards on the table all the time. I feel like he could be an easily 1,000-yard rusher every year. But he leaves yards on the table all the time. And I just hate it. I hate watching him try and take holes that aren't there. Like, come on, man. I don't like him. He's not very good. And then we got Johnson. I forget his first name, but I'm going to put him on the same exact tier. Both of them were very good this year. Next, we have Deuce Vaughn. Man, I don't know. I'll put him in okay. Yeah, I mean, he was all right when he played, but their offense, I mean, I'm just going to put him in just not very good. Their running game was horrible. Rico Dowdle had a couple good games, especially at the end of the season. He had a couple good games. So I'll put him in okay, but Rico Dowdle, in my opinion, is not a very good running back, and I think he'll show that next season. But because of the season that he had to finish, because of how he finished the season, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in okay. But I guarantee by the end of next season, he's probably in the bad tier. That's just my guess. Dalvin Cook is just bad now. Like, straight up, he's just bad. I don't even remember him getting playtime, actually, this year. Like, I don't remember him playing a single game. But if he did, he was bad. Alvin Kamara, he's just below elite. He started the season off fantastic, and then he got injured, and the rest of the team got injured. So I'm going to just keep him in that just below elite tier. He's injured all the time, so I just can't put him on that elite tier. I guess I'm being hypocritical when saying that because I have Christian McCaffrey in that top tier. But Kamara has never done anything that Christian McCaffrey has done. I mean, he does what Christian McCaffrey does, but Christian McCaffrey does it to like 2 times better. So Jamal Williams just wasn't good this year, and Kendre Miller, I'll say, was better than Jamal. He was just not very good, though. So this is my running back tier list. My elite tier comes down to 6 running backs: Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Bijan Robinson. Those are my elite running backs as of right now. So yeah. So if you guys did enjoy that video, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel once again. I am trying to make it as a YouTuber. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. The wide receiver tier list. Stay tuned.